Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Boss Shot Shells. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
I was a little off on the introduction. I was a little frazzled. A little off.
You've kind of taken off a couple of days.
I have.
With us today, today is an amazing day for us. We have two of the most interesting men in waterfowl on today.
Oh, yeah.
We got first podcast is with the great Lee Kjos. Lee, how are you doing?
Well, I couldn't be any better right now. Really,
we're following you up.
Crazy.
We're
good.
following you up today with Ramsey Russell.
Oh, he is. He's awesome, dude. Have you ever had him on before?
Yeah, Ramsey's been on with us 2 or 3, 4 times. He's a great guy.
Okay.
What a great story.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Interesting dude.
He's the Dusaki guy of waterfall. You know, I mean, he is.
Yeah, I think that if you can't have 2 more interesting guys on the podcast in a day in the waterfowl business, and you two guys would be right up there at the top of the list.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
So it snowed up there. It's April 19th, and you've snowed yesterday, ice today.
Yeah.
Is that normal?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it can be. I mean, it can be. It's not like you freak out over it, you know. But wow, it has been a cold spring.
Yeah.
Cold, wintry mix, sleet. But boy, compared to what last year was like, and the looming like drought that was kind of hanging over the prairie, I mean, there's some encouraging signs right now. So
yeah, because we were talking beforehand, and I was skeptical as to what this big winter blast would do, being that it is in April and, you're starting to see some birds starting to nest.
Mm-hmm.
I was worried it would put too much stress on them, but you said that's not the case at all.
I don't think that's near a larger factor is how important it is that we got that late. I mean, there's areas out between like Bismarck over towards Minot, like right, and you're talking in the heart of the prairie pothole region, right, where they got 24 to 30 inches of that nasty, wet, heavy stuff, right? That coupled with cool weather, and if we get any kind of like normal spring rains, I mean, it's going to fill those prairies like right up. It'll start. So it's really good that happened.
Yeah,
really
and
good.
It was a wet, heavy snow. It wasn't just like this dry snow.
No, not like January snows. No, this is what you need right now.
Yeah.
If you're a duck hunter, this is it. What needed to happen happened.
That is great. We need rain bad here, and we have some liquid gold coming in right now. We got thunderstorms west of us moving towards us, and boy, we need rain.
We do too.
Southwest Oklahoma, the Texas Panhandle. We are fixing to have a big issue this year because of feed in Texas and Oklahoma, because cotton is going to be king this fall again. So, like all of the pivots in our area, we have corn and peanuts, so we'll be good for our food.
Right.
But a lot of the dry land areas are going to all be cotton this year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, didn't that? I hunted with. Have you ever had One Shot Lou on?
No.
Alex Brittingham, Alex with the Gator, the duck dog, the little Jack Russell.
Never had him on.
You should get Lou. No, Lou. Her.
Oh, okay.
You should get Alex on. Alex Brittingham. We call her One Shot Lou, but you'd love her. She's a legit badass when it comes to duck hunting. Like, how like people, and I hope I don't like get lit up for saying this, but people say, well, yeah, she's like really good for a girl,
Yeah. Don't say that shit.
No.
She's good, period. Full stop.
Well, dude, here's the deal. like if it's your turn to shoot, if you're up and you miss, she's gonna wipe your eye. Right? I mean, legit. That's why. I mean, she got the name One Shot Lou for a reason. But anyway, it was this back to Oklahoma. I was hunting at like one of her. I guess it's her dad. One of her dads.
Is that Jack's daughter? Yeah,
that's Jack's daughter.
I know Jack. Yep. Jack's hunted with Andy and filmed here before.
That's Jack's daughter, and that's down at Fort. That's Cobb,
Fort
right?
Cobb at the Kiowa County Duck Club.
That's Cobb.
Yep.
Okay, and when I was there, there was some of the older dudes were there, and they were telling me what Cobb was like back before there was all the cotton. Mm-hmm. Like when it was peanuts mostly. I mean, they were telling me stories of greenheads in the 70s that was mind-blowing.
Yeah. I don't doubt it.
Right?
Yeah.
I saw it in what year? Is this 22?
It is.
Probably
yep.
12 or 13 when we had our drought first started. Me and Tony went up there and looked around, and we went the first week of February. Our goose season ended on Sunday. We went up like on Tuesday and Wednesday to look around, and this is no shit. The mallards was coming off that lake and going to peanut fields, and I watched ducks fly. There was ducks in the air the whole time from 3:30 until 5:30. Ducks coming and going, and it was one train of ducks coming and one train of ducks going back. I'm guessing I saw 250,000 ducks there, and they would go to the peanut fields. But yeah, that area especially. Now they've got irrigation, so they're still going to have some peanuts. But cotton. One of the reasons the cotton prices are real high right now, and we're in a drought, and the farmers know that we're in the weather pattern we're in is calling for a really dry summer.
Right.
And so they know if they plant cotton and it don't come up, they're going to get a big insurance check. So a lot of farmers are planting cotton with it in case it droughts. So there's going to be a bunch of cotton. Hopefully the forecast is wrong and we're going to get a hurricane and some big rains. Not a hurricane to wipe out nobody, but a rain hurricane. We need bad.
Right.
But that is a neat place to hunt over there. So you stayed at the big house then.
I don't know what they called it. I slept with Gator. I know that was fun. but it's really fun for me. I don't know if your listeners, I'm 63 years old, so I'm like a total product of the 70s. Mm-hmm. And when I'm in other regions and I get to talk to a duck hunter, a dyed-in-the-wool duck hunter that's in their 60s like I am, and we talk about the 70s, I love hearing like what it was like back then. So this dude they were in high school, as he's totally my age, mid-70s, in high school with the boys. Of course, they'd skip school, raise hell, and they would drive down like a gravel county road in a wet year. In the 70s were wet. Well, at least they were here. I guess I don't know about Oklahoma, but they were wet years. And the ditches would be full of greenheads.
Jeez.
And they would drive by them, and he said they'd never lift off. So they'd go down the road in a pickup and raise hell with greenheads off the gravel road. Right? I mean, can you imagine? God, does that sound fun?
Renegades.
Oh, it does. Oh, for sure. Well, it's kid shit, right?
Yeah,
oh my God, so much fun.
I
mean, you eventually grow out of it, but you got to admit, when you're a teenager with the boys, I mean, it's pretty much game on, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's what our kids today are so not rebels in a sense that, well, number one, cell phones kind of put a damper on a lot of things. Like I can't. There's so many cell phones that get popped up, and you get a little bit more reserved. But you want your kids to go out there and raise a little bit of hell,
right?
Push the boundaries,
right.
And you want them to grow out of it. Also, like you don't want them to stay a shithead for their entire lives, but like go out there and raise a little bit of hell.
As long as they wind up on the right side of it.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I like a little hell raising too. I like to see it. I do too.
Yeah, for sure. Jeff just looked up Gator the dog. Gator the duck dog.
Yeah,
he's got his own Instagram.
You should have Lou and Gator on.
We'll probably do that after this. That'd be an interesting one.
That's the funniest thing because we had a Jack Russell one time.
Mean as shit.
That's the meanest little dog I've ever owned in my life.
Well, I don't know. I've never seen Gator get mean, but I mean he is a legit duck dog. I mean, like some people are like, well, it's got to be like a novelty thing. No, he's well, she's a dog trainer. I mean, he handles. Gator handles. He's whistle trained, and yeah,
they're smart dogs. My gosh.
Oh, he's whip smart.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you posted not too long ago, created a little bit of controversy about the way a gentleman was turkey hunting. And I guess more or less,
Tyler,
he kind of does it like a pheasant. He'll catch them on the other side of a ridge, and then he more or less flushes them. And I tell you what, the knives.
He's a hunter.
The knives came out.
Yeah, they did.
You don't shy away from it though.
I don't know. No, I'll defend. That to me is no different than defending our country.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In what I mean by that is, quite honestly, I'm sick of this 5% of the country that whole squeaky wheel gets the grease bullshit. I'm sick of it, right? I think, when people go, well, it's guys like us that like sit back and we're quiet and we just let it happen or watch it happen, right? Okay. I have something to say when it comes to hunting. Okay. I don't care. Now, here's the point to it really is I don't care whether you like it or not, or it's the way you do it. I don't give a fuck about your feelings.
Right.
Okay. He is anybody that knows Tyler Webster, that's Birds, Booze, and Buds podcast. That dude is a straight up gangster when it comes to hunting DIY public land upland hunting, right? I mean, he works at it. Mm-hmm. He's a straight up gangster at it, right? Well, that's how he wanted to kill this turkey. So he's spot and stock him. The only thing he didn't have was his dogs on point, right? But he went and did it, right? And he knew that he sent it to me because he killed it with a Boss Tom 410, right? Which, if you look at his feed, any of your listenership, you should follow the guy because the guy is like legit, right, at what he does. And he's as ethical a person, 100% fair chase, 100% wild, DIY, and public ground. That's his game, right? So the way he did it, just because somebody's like, oh, no, I sit in a $600 ground blind and I hunt over $1,000 decoys and no, dude, just because that's the way you want to do it doesn't make it right. Quite honestly, our whole country has become that. I'm white, you're black. I'm rich, you're poor. I'm fat, you're skinny. Right. I mean, dude, the divide has got to stop.
Yeah.
We're Americans. And in particular, we're sportsmen. We can't afford the divide. That was the point of the post. Would I do it? Well, quite honestly, yeah, I would do it. But that isn't even the point. The point is it's legal. He's ethical. He patterns his shotgun. He knows exactly what's going to happen. Now, can you miss? Of course you can miss, but who couldn't miss a turkey? Right. Other people miss turkeys. They miss them with bows. They miss it, right? Mm-hmm. The point is, this is America, right? Stop with the keyboard warrior shit, especially in social media. Just stop it, dude. It's not good.
Well, and, I can't see a whole lot of difference between what he did. Number one, he shot it with a 410, so it's got to be inside a 20.
Is this the video of the turkey flying across the creek?
I don't even know. He flushes up and then he 20 yards ish, give or take.
I think 25 max.
That's a hunter.
25 max. So he snuck up on a turkey and got within 25 yards of that turkey before he pulled the trigger. But, there's
Correct.
been times where I've been turkey hunting and I see that they're kind of feeding one way, and I'll go over the ridge and I'll get in between them and where they're going. And then, but to me, there's no difference in what he did. And then what I've done is I'm just getting in front of the bird. The only difference is I'm not flushing it up. The bird is just walking in front of me. I didn't do anything to deserve that bird. I just saw where he was going. I went around a ridge, came over the ridge, got within 40 of where he was going to walk, and I sat there for 10 minutes until he walked into where I wanted to shoot him. But I didn't call him up. I didn't have a decoy out or anything. I didn't do it the quote-unquote traditional way.
What? Oh, hold on now. That's a good one. Think about traditional. What if you back up past commercialism and go to like what is really traditional hunting? Mm-hmm. You can't tell me that there's etchings on cave walls of spot and stalk.
Right.
That's hunting,
right.
Dude.
Yeah.
He did the tradition.
Yeah.
Well, he did it. If you ask me, he did it. Yeah. Right. So my whole problem with the whole thing is like what's happening to our community, like that you start seeing things that are trying to divide trophy hunters from meat hunters. Yeah. You see the elite archery, the industry elites of archery calling gun people like not nice names.
Fuds, right?
Isn't
that what it was? Fuds, Elmer Fuds.
Oh, it's just all kinds of stuff. It just, you see it, right? I'm like, really, dude?
Right.
You're really going to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so not cool. But the funny thing about that post is was a very, very little negative and it's not that it's not out there, it's that they didn't want to chirp. And do you guys know the feed copper-plated sixes?
Yes.
Okay.
He's agreed to come on the podcast. I need to reach back out to him, but I think I'd have to do it anonymously.
Get him on, right? Yeah. Because I talk to him frequently. Mm-hmm. And his constituents were hoping that he was going to jump on that one. And he's like, no, man. Nope, I got no problem with that. I'm cool, right? So I text him, and I said, dude, are you going to light me up on this one or not? He goes, no, man. He goes, all fucking good over here, dude. But I told him, I said, your constituents are waiting for you, and then they would pile on, for sure pile on.
They were just waiting for the green light from sixes.
Yeah, and Copper's like, yeah, no, man, all good here.
I saw that video, and I didn't realize that all this had happened. My takeaway from the video was it's a guy that's extremely good hunter, because it's hard to walk up on a turkey. But the thing that gets playing the devil's advocate, I think a lot of people, when they watch videos, they don't realize how close they are. Because the video, they're probably thinking, that guy's shooting them turkey at 60 yards in the air. No, the guy was close. He's shooting with a 410.
Oh, yeah.
20 yards. The depth perception with videoing makes it seem like it's further away, and they get onto it. I saw another video this week that was pretty interesting. I saw a guy, and he was shooting an antelope, and he used his horse. He walked behind his horse, and he shot it with a bow and arrow. And he got down on the knees behind the horse, and his wife took the horse, and she walked it away and pulled it away, and the antelope is 15 yards from the guy, and the guy shoots it with the arrow. And people were bitching about that. And I'm thinking, that is, to me, is that right there is the Indian way of doing stuff.
Cowboys and Indian shit right there.
Did you ever see the film Jeremiah Johnson?
Very many times. Great show.
Okay, so you remember Bear Claw?
Yes.
Okay, so Jeremiah Johnson, Robert Redford, was talking to Bear Claw, and because Bear Claw is telling him how to sneak up on an elk with a horse, right? I can't exactly remember what Jeremiah said to him, but Bear Claw goes, "Elk can't count legs." Yeah. He's like, "Oh God, that was good." So
want to see my legs?
To your point,
want to see my legs.
When did we become this culture where we're right the way we do it and everybody else is wrong? It's not cool, dude. It's not a cool thing.
No, because back then, they were hunting like Uncle Jesse Bearclaw, the guy Uncle Jesse from Dukes of Hazzard plays Bearclaw, and he does. He says he goes, well, he's going to see my legs. That's what he says. You think an elk knows that there's only 4 legs or 6 legs? He don't know. And then the horse kicks and knocks him down, and he has to clean it. But
that's it.
That right there, those people were shooting stuff to feed themselves. They didn't care how they did it. They were doing the best ways to do it. That guy that walked up on that turkey, there wasn't a turkey decoy.
No.
You're the historian here. When did turkey decoys come around? The mid-1900s?
Commercially, probably.
I
20 years ago.
I'm kind of with. I don't know when they were on the market, because when I started hunting turkeys, and I hunted a lot of them, killed my first bird in '89 in the Black Hills of South Dakota, a real Merriam's. And then, of course, I got addicted to it. And like everything else I do, I go like wide open for a while. I did 4 or 5 states a year for sure 15 or 20 years. I did. I don't hunt turkeys so much anymore, but I did then. And I never was in a blind, and I never hunted over a decoy. I hunted them like run and gun style, my butt in the dirt. I love being against a tree. I loved feeling, I guess this might sound odd or weird, but I loved the connection between sitting on the ground and having a tom really, really close to me, and then go off close, right? I mean, like you can feel it,
feel the
right?
vibration.
You can feel it, right? So like the cool part about that to me is when you're in their world and they don't know it.
Yeah.
All right. So the decoy thing, I think I tried the archery thing like years later, and to this day, it's the only bird I ever crippled and lost. And I lost it due to, I mean, you could say it was not a very good shot. Maybe you could say that or whatever, but I promise you with a shotgun, he'd have been fucking stone dead. But, right? But, but again, it's a each to his own thing. Dude, find your own game, the game within the game. Find it and do it. Yes.
These same people that bitch about that, though, are the ones that are using a brand new fishing rod with the latest equipment to fish, too. So, I mean, they're going to bitch anyways. During the colonial days, did they turkey hunt when were the first turkey calls?
Might have to go to.
I guess you'd have to go back to a wing bone, right?
Probably so.
Wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
A wing bone? I don't know that. I would be talking out of school there. I'm not sure. I would think a wing bone though.
But
years ago, I would think natives. I would think Native Americans.
The Indians had them then. That would
sure.
But what that guy did though, for anybody to bitch and say that's not traditional, that's as traditional as you can get. It's like stalking.
Oh my God, dude!
It's like the guys that stalk the mule deer. I'm always impressed when I see a guy walks up within 15 yards of a mule deer and shoots one with a bow, and I'm like, that dude's a hunter.
100%. That is a hunt.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I agree 100%. So like Copper, get Copper on. Do it. You should get him on. Get Copper on and ask him why he goes off on reaping turkeys.
Okay. But still,
right?
like, he's got to be careful though, because like to each his own, right?
The dude is intelligent.
Right.
Okay, you're not going to get a dumbass answer.
Right. Well, like I said, I messaged him about a year ago, and he said he was doing something. He was out of town for a while, and then we just got busy. It was I think it was actually like late August, so it was kind of a time where we were going to start ramping up, and we just got busy. But I'll revisit it soon.
This is another America thing.
Yeah.
Regardless of what side of the aisle you're on here, we need voices like that.
Sure. Right.
Doesn't mean we necessarily always agree with that voice, but we need differing opinion. That is what makes us great.
Right. And as long as you I can deal with a different opinion as long as you can articulate what that opinion is. Don't just stop at like, well, that's not the way to do it. Full stop. I'm not going any further. Like, well, why is that not why is that not the proper way to do it? Well, what leads you to believe that your way is superior to my way? As long as we can have a discussion, I'm fine with walking away as like, okay, we just don't agree with whatever the topic is. Right. But whenever somebody just shuts down and is like, well, this is just the way to do it, period, the end.
Exactly.
Like, well, fuck, we didn't get anywhere with that.
That's not cool. Like, I have one of those people that know me as a duck hunter, right? Like the total like DIY prairie guy duck hunter, right? I don't particularly care for hunting greenheads on dry ground in dry fields. Right. It's not my bag, right? Is there anything wrong with it? No, maybe not. Maybe there might be. There might be now. It might pressure on their food, as long as it's been going on now, may have had an effect on things for sure. But my point is, just because it's not my bag, it doesn't mean it's not. It doesn't mean it's not legit, right? So, I mean, there's lots of things like that. That I think I'm surprised you kind of brought that up. That post, I didn't know that. I didn't know that you guys saw that one, but I was like, okay, I'm jumping in this one right now.
And I think it's good, anyway. Like you said, like he did everything ethically. He was. It's with a 410, people. Like, to do that with a 410, you're not talking about a souped up 12 gauge that can touch him at 75.
Watch his feed. He walks. He wears a GoPro, and I text him a long time ago, and I would tell him, I love watching your feed, and I hate social media. I think you guys all know that.
Yeah.
But I love his. And he's like, what is it about it that you like? And I'm like, well, I love that organic vibe of you walking in with your highly trained dogs on public ground, and I'm watching you on a GoPro. You're actually bringing me along, right? And I get to watch this, and he'll flush like a couple late season wild roosters, and you know how wild and skittish they get. And dude, he's shooting a 410, and he shoots clean doubles with that 410 like you can't even imagine. The guy's an absolute butcher with a gun.
8,000 years ago, the first turkey call. I just looked it up.
No shit. Do you think
it was a wing bone, Native American?
Do you think the same people people that are saying he's not a traditionalist are the ones that are sitting in a snow goose spread with stadium speakers? Yeah, that's crazy. Yes. Yes. I think they hunt in a ground blind, and I think they hunt over like the craziest decoys known to man, and I think they have everything at their access. This is my way of doing it, and if you don't do it my way, it's not obviously the right way. Right? I just think that whole narrative is like insanity, and I also think it's very detrimental to us, right? Because we're way better together than we are divided.
Well, it's easier for them to pick us off if we're divided. And I say the anti-gun, the anti-hunters, it's way easier. Just look at America right now. Other countries have to just be chomping at the bit because we're killing ourselves. We're tearing ourselves apart from the inside. So they'll just wait until the opportunity's right, and they'll pounce.
Right now, there's somebody.
It's not good.
Right now, there's somebody sitting on an airplane that's mad as hell that 90% of the plane took their mask off and is happy with their mask off. 10% of the people on that airplane are pissed off at the other 90% over a freaking mask that don't work. But that's the world we live in right now. I mean, that's just.
Oh God, it's crazy, ain't it, Jeff? Oh my God.
Yeah.
That whole.
Did you see any of the videos of when the pilots told the people they could take their mask off?
Everybody
takes their mask off. That ought to tell you how people feel. Because if you
it does.
If you wanted to wear your mask, I saw a doctor was complaining about this because him and his family booked a vacation and they flew somewhere. And now his family, he's wanting American Airlines to pay for his family to have a private flight home on a private jet because his family has succumbed now to all this disease and stuff that's on. If you think that diaper on your mask is going to keep you from getting all these diseases, you shouldn't have been flying in the first place. But he is absolutely pissed that he has to fly home on a plane without everybody wearing a mask.
I just before we got on here, I just came home. I took my wife to the airport. She's flying to Arizona to hang out with her mom for a couple weeks and then drive her mom home. And she was telling me this article that was on the news this morning of a steward on an airplane. And he was talking about, you know how guys like for sure can speak probably for the three of us, right? Like on an airplane, I'm like, really, dude, I got to wear this fucking mask. Really? It's just stupid. Yeah. But we're not going to make a scene or whatever. It's what guys like us are like. And she was saying that the flight attendant, this steward, was talking about if a guy or a gal next to people like would pull their mask down to do something, they would like immediately hit the button and the flight attendant would have to come over there and they're like, oh my God, I'm so sick of doing this, right? So think about it, that's really not a lot different than what we were talking about on that post, right? You have the media has got us trained in how to cause a divide. And the divide is for profit only. Mm-hmm. That's where people have to start getting savvy about, okay, what's really going on here? Is this real, or are they trying to divide us because it's either a vote or money? Pick one. It's a fact, dude. Yep. It's a fact.
Yeah. That's exactly what it's about.
It's a fact. Government overreach. Right? Now all of a sudden COVID's over because some federal judge said the CDC wanted to extend it to May 5th. Fuck you. We're not extending.
We're done. Take them off.
Wait a minute. What happened like 10 days ago? Wasn't it the same? You know, just what?
It's just
who even believes this?
And the school kids in Los Angeles still have to wear a mask every day, but the school kids in Texas don't have to. But so there's an imaginary line in the atmosphere where Texas is different than California when it comes to. It's crazy. It's the biggest. It just keeps going and going and going too, and it's about control, I guess. But I saw that.
Yeah.
But every video I showed, but then people were cheering and happy, and we're flying in a month from now. Are you not happy, Andy?
I am.
I'm absolutely ecstatic. I did read an interesting deal. Clay Travis, who's an interesting guy, he had on his Instagram, or not on Twitter last night. He goes, Biden is in a good position on this because if they don't fight it, they can always say, well, it was Trump and them. It was a Trump lawyer that did it, or a judge. So we don't need to try to fight this anymore. Just let it go because that's what people want anyways. But he can always use it as an excuse. Well, we're not the ones that done the mask mandate. A Trump-appointed judge did. So I don't think they're going to fight it. I don't think you can get people to wear a mask again now.
I think it's going to be pretty hard to shove that one down our throat again.
Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah, put the diapers back on. We talked to a company. We had a Zoom call with a company in California. They're still locked down at home. I mean, I don't think they've gotten out in 2 years. So
that's Newsom. It's
sad to see.
Take a look at life, and I can tell you this. This is, I can at least give you my opinion or 2 cents on living in a blue state right now. Okay, because I live in Minnesota, right? Okay. You guys know, again, I'm in my 60s, and people know me as like an outdoor advertising photographer, location work, right? I travel a lot. I've been all over. Everywhere I used to go, people would be like, you'd meet people and, out at a restaurant or a bar or whatever, and they're like, where are you from? And I'm like, well, I'm from Minnesota or the United States, and then more particular, Minnesota. And they're like, oh, Minnesota, I've been there. Oh my God, great people. Love Minnesota. Northern Minnesota is beautiful. All this, right? Not now, dude.
Really?
No. Now when I go around, it's like, ooh, man. Like, I don't know, man, that governor you got, that's Governor Walz and Mayor Fry, Mayor Carter in St. Paul, Minneapolis, and Attorney General Ellison. I mean, what's happened to our state and what they've allowed under our watch is, to me, should be, well, I mean, I guess you don't get to impeach. I know you don't get, impeachment's not part of it, but why anyone, even a Democrat, at least an old school Democrat or a moderate, I cannot understand how they could possibly vote to reelect.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Well, so you're bringing up California, right? That'd be Newsom. And then look what's going on in the shipping yards right now. Right?
Yep.
I mean, like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Right?
How can you
It's
vote
like,
to reelect this person?
I don't get it. And let me quantify this. I grew up a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
My mother came from the farm. My dad came from the farm. My dad was a union electrician, and my mother was a union line operator. Okay? So that party used to be called DFL, Democratic Farm Labor, right? But that's not what we're looking at right now. That party left us.
Yeah.
We didn't leave them. They left us. Right? So
what would you say? Probably Kennedy? Was Kennedy like the last good one?
They were Mondale Democrats. You were Mondale Democrats, right?
I mean, well, Humphrey. I mean,
that's right, Hubert Humphrey.
Like Humphrey,
that's
right? I mean, you really could. This might not sound good if I say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't even think. Yeah, probably Beck. Well,
this ought to be a good one then.
It's a tough. Well, I mean, it's a tough one. You look at Clinton, right?
Yes.
And you look at the way the country was when Clinton was in office, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't fucked up like this.
Right.
Do we all have our opinion on the Clintons? Yeah, for sure we do. Of course we do. Right? But in all fairness, there's been a lot of shenanigans that's gone on in both sides of the aisle.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. 100%.
Bill Clinton wasn't a bad president.
He had some.
Not my opinion either. That's what I'm going to say. And then, hey, I mean, a little noggin once in a while. I mean, we all understand that, right? I mean, I don't think he booed a fucking. I don't think he booed the leader of the free world out for a little noggin. I don't. I mean,
noggin.
Hey, if we all know Hillary, so nobody blames him for that at all. I mean,
Oh my God, Hillary's got legs like a pool table. I mean, I totally get Wild Bill for that.
Listen, who doesn't like a cigar and a blowjob every once in a while? Like, did the guy do anything wrong? God bless him.
Really, dude? I mean, are we pigs for that? Yeah, probably,
so.
But I get
the world was still normal then.
Jeff, I think it really started to go sideways, like under Obama.
Yeah.
George W.
Personally.
George W.'s last term was horrible. George W. to Obama's when it all unraveled. But
05, 06.
When Clinton was in office and Newt Gingrich was Speaker of the House, we got things done. We were still pro-America. But after that, the whole 9/11 deal, after that, just shit went downhill real fast. I mean, we went from having some Muslims blow up New York City to basically electing one 8 years later. So something happened in that 8 years, and I don't.
Correct.
People say Obama's not a Muslim. Well, I'd have a hard time disagreeing with that. I mean, agreeing that he is not a Muslim. I think he is. He's at least a Muslim sympathizer. Well, but that's when shit went downhill, and it's just.
And I don't think we've talked about this on the show before. I don't think that there was a whole lot of difference between a Democrat and a Republican when Clinton was running. Like when you looked at him versus Bush Sr., they had some minor things that they were a little bit different on, but like this anti-America and pro-America that we see now was not the case back in the early 90s. They were pretty similar. They had some social issues that they disagreed on, but they're fucking light years away now.
Right. Just keep in mind, like when did I lose you?
Nope.
Okay. Just keep in mind that I think like the bigger thing here is how media manipulates the narrative to divide us make us farther apart than we really are. I really don't think we're that far apart.
No.
If we had a voice that was more centrist, right? Right? Yeah. I think you'd realize we're really not, the mass is not that far apart, but boy, the media loves it. It's good for business. Oh, it's good for business, dude.
I think 75% of the people in our country are on the same page. I really do.
100%. I agree.
And it may be up to 80%. I talk to people everywhere I go. I like to visit with people, and me and Michelle travel a lot, and so I talk to people all over the place. Now, mostly I'm around like-minded people. But so through this podcast and the business, but when we go places, I'll visit with waitresses, waiters, people just sitting. If I'm waiting in a waiting room with somebody, I talked to a guy that was a liberal from North Carolina. We were at the Biltmore in Asheville, and I was talking to a guy outside of like a waiting area for something, and we just started talking. And he was a teacher somewhere, and he was a liberal, and he was a Democrat. He was a Democrat. He wasn't really a liberal, and we started visiting and stuff, and me and him were 90% the same views on everything. I mean, everything just about was the same. And he was not real happy with being a Democrat anymore. But we were, and I think it's that way everywhere. But our media is bought and paid for by the political parties. Them people don't give two craps about us anyway.
And Wall Street.
Yes, that's exactly right. And you said something perfect a minute ago when you said about Minnesota, because I'm that way. When someone tells me they're from Minnesota, I used to think I am jealous. The fishing, the hunting, living up north, the seasons, what a great place to live. Now when I think of them, I said, do you live in Minneapolis? And they'll be like, no, I live in the farm country outside. And I'm thinking, well, you're just like we are.
Yeah.
And
it's bad, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
it really bums me out. It's nowhere near the luster that there used to be. I mean, you guys know I travel a lot, and people would always ask me, like, when you're on your photo shoots and stuff, what's your favorite place? You know, I'm like, dude, it's home, man. Yeah. Northern Minnesota is as good. It's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Right.
Iron Range is a whole different world.
Like, oh man, dude, just northern Minnesota in general is like, well, quite honestly, outstate Minnesota. You take the 7-county metro area, fuck that. Just blow it up, dude.
Hey, I heard.
You're right. Outstate, no, dude, we're not. That opinion they have in there, no, dude, it's not us.
Not at all.
Me and Michelle were in downtown Duluth last March or something. We were walking downtown. I thought this would have been a cool place to to grow up in. What just a really cool place.
Yeah, it's a lot different, man, now than it was. You know, we have Ilhan Omar and like I said, you know, Governor Walz and Mayor Carter in St. Paul and Mayor Fry in Minneapolis and Attorney General Ellison, and it's I wonder when, like, you know, you don't want to start a revolt or whatever, but you wonder when a certain generation has to pay the price for freedom, right? I mean, you're seeing it in the Ukraine right now, right?
Yeah, I mean,
they're going to pay a heavy price for freedom if they can fight them off.
The bill's definitely coming. I mean, you know, you look at any great empire throughout the history, and it's about 300 years is about when it tops off.
Somebody's going to have to fight for it. Yeah, that's right.
You know,
it's a fact.
Speaking of brave gentlemen, and I know you've been there. You've been to Grand Marais, Minnesota, I'm sure, many times.
Many times. Yep.
That fort that's on that lake up there, those men had to be the toughest guys to handle the winters up there.
Right? Oh, man. Oh, God. When you think about winters up there, like back in the day, oh, yeah, crazy.
And one guy would take a canoe from there and go all the way to Detroit by himself.
Think about that.
That's mind-blowing to me. To take a canoe with all those pelts and stuff to go from there to Fort Detroit. Every time I'm up north and I see them old forts, that's the same way at Mackinac Island, that fort they have right there. And I thought, man, what some hardy people to build those things by hand. They didn't have chainsaws and they didn't have nothing. A different breed of cat for sure.
right? Well, do you ever read? Do you ever read like stories on like the rendezvous when they used to have the rendezvous back in those days, the trapper
Oh,
era?
the mountain men were amazing. The get-togethers.
Oh, and they would go to Fort. Isn't it? I think it's Fort Factory. I think in Canada, where like the original like that's where like the where they would trade their fur, the rendezvous. And I think that people could check this out, like fact check me here on this one, but I think that's like the birthplace of Canada. And I also think that that's how the Hudson Bay Trading Company started. And I think it was called Fort Factory. I actually flew over it on a spring snow goose hunt. I went up to Nanook in the middle of May, between the middle of May and the end of May, and hunted white geese up there. It was a crazy trip. But you fly over that and you see that, but you think about, holy shit, they did this in the like 200 years ago. Like what? How do you go from there to there?
Yeah.
Oh, they're tough son of a bitches.
I mean,
they
had nothing but probably like tin cloth. They didn't have the Gore-Tex and the gear that we had today.
No.
It's just hardy people that built this.
Yep. Super
and
cool.
And now we're going to be pussies and let it all go.
Have you read the book, The Lewis and Clark Expedition?
Well, if you're referring to Stephen Ambrose.
Yes, that book.
Like his book, Undaunted Courage.
Yes. It's a great book.
Of course. Well, it is for anyone listening out there, if you want to read about real America, that's it. That's the recollection of it. That's when Thomas Jefferson made the Louisiana Purchase, and then he sent Meriwether. Quite honest, first of all, let me back up. He bought it without permission from the legislature and Congress, right? They were gonna impeach him for buying that. Well, he made the Louisiana Purchase, and then he got Lewis and Clark together, and he said, "I bought this. You head west, young man." Right? Mm-hmm. That's where that comes from, and go to the coast and come back and tell us what we have. Tell us what we bought. Right?
Oh, shit.
Dude. And then that whole story, the opening up, oh my God, dude. So good.
So he didn't have permission to buy this from Congress. He just acted unilaterally and
he knew it was a damn good deal. I'm surprised the French ain't sued us to get some of their money back.
Was it 19 cents an acre?
It was
something ridiculous.
I think it was even cheaper than that.
Less than that. It was probably way less. I can't remember what it was. It was a crazy story. But dude, that book, that novel, it's a tough read. Okay, no joke. It's a tough read, but it's like way good.
It's a very good book. And I started reading right now. I'm reading a book on Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh,
Is it Brinkley that wrote that?
Yeah, 4 cents an acre. He bought it for $15 million.
4.
Yeah.
There you go.
Gee.
That's a good buy, dude.
That's
a fucking sweetheart deal.
Yeah.
Real estate's always been good.
And then the Russians selling us Alaska for $1 an acre or whatever they sold it to. That's another one.
They're still pissed.
Yep.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
What a great move on both of those places. But those I tell if you've got a young kid and I say a young kid, 12, 13, 14 years old, get them off the Xbox and stuff and have them read them books right there. And let them learn about how we started, where we come from, and the men and women that built our country. You know,
right.
Because what's the lady's name that was the Indian that was on they got a place
Sacagawea.
They got a hotel about her in Montana and stuff. She's a hell of a story on her own.
Oh boy.
You got Sacagawea, the black guy. What was it? I can't remember his name right now. That was on that expedition. But there's a little bit of everybody in America that put that together. Every race, every culture, everything that made that a story on its own.
Think about this, Jeff. You brought up a good point. All right, because I guess the theme of this whole podcast we're on here is the divide, right?
Yeah.
Why do we have a divide? Why is it real? Think about this. There is no country in this world that is more diverse than we are.
Not at all. Not even close.
You can't even come. Somebody could go, well, that's not true. Western Europe's diverse. You'd go, well, I mean, then maybe because they're more acceptance to the trans thing and pronouns. I mean, okay. Does that really make you more diverse?
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
I mean, just because you have a label, that doesn't make it real, right? There's no country like America. People go, well, China's this new superpower. I got news for you. As long as people are still shitting in fucking holes in a factory, no, dude, right. You're not America.
Right.
Okay? We don't do things like that here.
Yeah.
Okay? People have to start standing up for what they know is right. Okay? That doesn't mean divide the country. That means you have a voice. Use it.
Mm-hmm.
Use it. Use your voice. Use your vote. Okay? I just had a buddy of mine that told me in Webster, South Dakota, there's, I believe it's a young lady. Again, you could fact check me on this one, but I believe it's a young lady, and she wants to identify as a feline.
Oh,
Jesus.
That's in our schools
So,
too.
So she wants a litter box in the bathroom.
Oh, I give up.
Okay, no, here's how into America I am. I'm like, okay, yep, okay, you get the litter box, but are you going to wear a collar and get vaccinated for rabies too, and eat cat food?
Yeah.
Are you going to do that part too? Oh no. We just want this
Just
part.
the litter box.
Yeah.
They call themselves furries.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, furries.
Okay, so furries. Yeah, furries. Yeah. So when do we fight back and I shouldn't say fight. Maybe not even fight. When do we push back and say, yeah, no, not doing that one. Sorry.
Well, and I think we've gone so far in this anti-bully narrative that
Correct.
we've allowed these bad ideas to flourish because there's not that element at school that's like, no, you're a fucking weirdo, don't do that. Like, you can't say that in school anymore, otherwise you'll get expelled.
No.
So, like, we've taken the bullies out, and now just like these furries are all over the place, where 20, 30 years ago, or in your day, you'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're a furry. Like, you're a fucking moron. Go to the bathroom like a normal person.
Let's talk about the real issue in many things that we look at in our country that are not cool right now. And you look at mental health, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So people talk to me, of course, because I've made much of my living as an outdoor photographer in the gun culture, right? I've worked for Benelli and Springfield and Kimber and Mossberg and like SIG and done lots of gun work, right? And you and I, we all know guns are not the problem, right? So if you're going to really go at something, you really have to go at it. Are you prepared to do the work to really go at something and solve it, right? Mm-hmm. Well, we all know that crazy shit that happens is mental health. It's guns. I mean, prohibition has proven that it's that's not going to work, dude. Right? So I look at much of this stuff, like, so this person that wants to identify as a feline or whatever. I mean, I don't understand that, and that's fair. That's fair that I don't understand that. But let's look at the real issue here. Let's not take this at face value and go, well, again, divide. Mm-hmm. Don't do that. Like, look at what's real. That's what I think.
Well,
but
and
where's our parents?
Well,
I don't know that. I don't know that. I don't know that part of that story.
Speaking about mental health, this goes back. So they've done a study, and the same people that are saying that they're quote-unquote trans at 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, trans or bi or furry or whatever, they are also the same girls that would have got into cutting 15 years ago, or that would have become anorexic 20 years ago. There's just something about that age that you're trying to be special amongst your peers. And so, when I was in school, people would cut themselves. Before that, girls were anorexic, and it's the same thing. It's just taken on a new face, but it's all got to do with being mentally sound.
That's mental health.
Right. Yeah.
The bitch is crazy.
Exactly.
She's got a pussy, but she ain't a cat.
But it's the same people that would have done these things years ago that are now saying that they're trans. They're not cutting themselves anymore. They're not seeking out attention that way anymore. They're seeking out attention by saying they're trans or a cat.
I think there needs to be help for sure.
And
I don't think it's a game.
I don't think help is.
I don't know that. I think I have a daughter that is a mental health counselor, and so I hear, like a different side a lot. And quite honestly, I love a differing opinion. I have a really good friend of mine that is like, she's way liberal, way liberal. And if I told you guys that I love hanging out with her, I wouldn't be lying, because quite honestly, I need to hear a differing opinion. I do. I think Justice Scalia and Ruth Bader Ginsburg were much like that. I quite honestly, I think they had a love affair with each other, and they couldn't have been any more opposite. But to me, that's the best part of our country, that you can look at something different and go, wait a minute, is that really what it is? Or is it maybe this? Right?
Right.
I think if we could come together as a community or a country, certainly in the hunt world we could, I think we'd be better off, dude.
Debate is great. I just don't think a girl thinking she's a cat is normal debate. That's not a debate. She's got some freaking issues. I think a lot of it's for attention.
I don't, quite honestly, I don't even think that should be like publicized.
Right.
That's a whole different, Jeff. I agree. That's a whole different thing, dude.
But I don't think help is facilitating what they say they are when they're 12 years old. Like, how many people just are going through an identity crisis at 12 years old and says, you know what, I feel more. How many girls, especially like when they're going through puberty and all that other stuff, go through this era where they're like, I see these other girls and they're like into makeup and Barbies, and like I'm still at this adolescent stage and I'm into getting dirty and playing sports with the boys and all this other stuff. And I don't think that help for them would be, oh yeah, you're definitely a boy in a girl's body. Let's start giving you hormones and start changing you at that age. That's not help. Let's talk through this and let's see when you come out the other side.
40 years ago, I was 14 years old, and I don't remember a lot about them, but I remember 14-year-old girls were mad. One girl got her boobs before the other ones did. That's what they were pissed about. She's got titties, and I don't yet. I don't remember any of them thinking they were fucking a cat or a dog or whatever. I mean, that was the guy. It just, oh my God, she stuffs her bra. That was a major issue.
I was talking to my partner at Boss the other night. Well, it was Brandon. Me and Brandon were talking. I'm the old one, right, of the whole group. And he was telling me a story that was going on at school. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I can't even relate to that. That stuff never went on at school when I was a kid. And he's like, why not? And I'm like, well, quite honestly, I mean, your dad would have kicked your ass.
Right. Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's just out of the question. Now, I don't mean the feline stuff. That is like a whole different deal. I'm talking about a boy acting up and like saying something not nice to a girl. You're going to get your fucking ass kicked, dude. Your dad's going to do it. You don't have to worry about a teacher or a cop. The dad's going to take care of it.
Yeah.
Right?
And
life was way different back then. But think about that. Think about those those dads and the mothers that backed it, they were boomers, or they were from. No, I'm a boomer. They were from America's Greatest Generation, right? That stuff, they didn't tolerate that stuff, right? There was a way you acted, and if you didn't do it, you were going to pay the price for it. But your dad was the one that was going to take care of it.
Yeah,
I think that's a huge difference today versus when I grew up, when I was a kid.
100%.
Like way different.
When I was 14 years old, 14 or 15, we had a girl that lived. I don't know. There was a female, and I grabbed her on her ass, and she never said nothing about it. So I did it more than once. Well, I didn't think she minded me doing that, but obviously she did because her mom got a hold of me, and her mom told me that if I touched her daughter on the ass one more time, that she was going to tell my dad. I was scared to death of my freaking dad finding out. Now, my dad would have said probably at the time, if it would have been with some buddies of his, well, she has a nice ass. I can understand why he grabbed her. But that's not what he was going to say to me. He was going to beat my ass for touching her on the ass. No. I didn't touch her. I didn't touch her on the butt ever again after that. That would have never. Yeah.
None of that would ever flown in.
No.
Not my family. No.
Hell no. But as a teenage boy, if a girl's going to let him do something, he was going to try. But by God, when her mom told me that, I was scared to death because I thought my dad was going to kill me.
Yeah.
And you just don't. That was the fear that we had back then. It was kind of like the dating deal. We talked about that on the dating deal. A boy's going to try whatever a girl's going to let him do. I mean, that's just the way it is. Nowadays, these boys are in fear. They're going to go to jail if they try anything. You can't even kiss a girl no more without getting in trouble, probably.
Really?
It's tough. There's a lot of kids that are in a lot of trouble for sexual harassment and sexual misconduct on dates.
You guys, this would be fantastic. Tell me your first kiss. That's like outstanding stuff.
First kiss.
What was it? Yeah. What
Not
was
your
it?
mom, Andy.
Oh, I understand. First kiss, I was 13, I guess.
Oh, mine was in elementary. Perfect. Mine was in elementary.
Seventh grade?
Going into my 7th grade year. Yeah.
So junior
high. Yeah. Junior high.
Which I consider like the informative years for sure.
It's
music.
Yes.
Girls.
100%.
You start to figure shit out. Yeah, for sure.
You start putting two and two together.
I touched my first real boob in 7th grade.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
And I thought I was going to heaven.
Yeah.
She didn't even have big boobs.
No, well, that doesn't matter.
No, I didn't care at all. Hers or mine, whoever's was bigger, I got to touch them, and she didn't care.
Yeah, like you listen to like Bob Seger, like Night Moves. Yes. Like the lyrics to that, and you think about that, like how innocent. God, those were fun. It was fun times,
kids today,
God, that was fun.
Kids today don't get that because they'll get in trouble.
I don't. Oh man, I don't even know that. I don't. Maybe that's.
It's true.
I have twin granddaughters that are 15 years old, and they're beautiful, and like I hear things once in a while, and I'm like, wow, man, it was so cool in the 70s, that whole boy girl thing. Like when you figure that out, and you're madly in love with like some chick, right? And it's because you're like legit. Yeah. It's legit. It's not for any other reason than you really like being with them, right? You want to be around them. You're just, I loved that. I loved that era. I did. Loved it.
That was the last times of innocence. Yeah. Today's, you don't have that because you had to figure shit out on your own. Now it's on a phone and stuff. But legitimately today, if a 14-year-old boy kisses a girl and he tries to touch her boob or on the butt or something, and she goes home and tells her dad, instead of the dad handling it the way they used to do it, now they call the cops, and then it's a sexual assault, and then the kid's a registered sex offender.
Oh boy!
I'm reading a story right here. 15-year-old boy was accused of asking to touch a girl's breast at a sleepover, and then was treated like a monster. After the girl filed charges with the police, he ended up killing himself. Because of the way that he was treated at school, because he asked to touch a girl's boob at a sleepover. Hung himself. 15 years old.
See, they're missing out on all the fun times.
Sad.
I don't even know how to.
Sad, man.
Let's go back to that guy walking, spotting, stalking that turkey and killing it with a 410.
Yeah, it's easy. It's.
I can't even.
It's tough stuff.
I don't even know what that just makes me feel bad.
Well, and you know, just like you said, like this innocent and like we're growing up together and we're going to try to we're figuring out this very, very complicated at 14, 15 years old. At that age, you're going through a lot of stuff and you're trying to figure out a lot of things, and you got to figure out where you're wrong and where your boundaries are. And if they just press charges on you for flirting with that line, well, nobody's going to get any better.
We need more skating rinks and Peter Frampton music when we were 14 years old again.
Frampton comes alive. That was a good one, dude. It was.
So
that was a good tour.
Everybody right now is kind of taking bits and pieces from what you guys at Boss have done. Everybody's got a money bag now, and it's how does that make you feel? You're a trailblazer. Everybody wants their own money bag now.
I mean, you can even, it'd be good. Well, first of all, I saw a podcast where you had Dirk and Brandon, Zach, you had the boys from the shop on, right?
They're crazy.
Oh, dude, have you had Mikey G on yet?
No, he was at Dallas, wasn't he?
Mike,
was he at Dallas? Or in Fort Worth? No.
You got to have Mikey G on. Mikey G is at the shop. Dude, guy's been to 385 dead concerts.
Oh, that's who you were telling me about. That's right.
You got to have Mikey G on. But anyway, my point to this was like you should have Brandon and I on together, and we'll talk about like when we started Boss. It happened, dude, right here in this barn, right here, and I told him, I said, when this gets rolling, and I knew it would roll. Mm-hmm. I did. Yeah, I did. I never a doubt in my mind. And he was like, what's going to happen? And I'm like, well, they're going to come after you. But I promise you, they're not going to be able to beat us at what we do, but they can spend money. They can duplicate what you do, plagiarism, big time, mm-hmm. and they can spend money more than we can because we're going to be little, right? We're not going to operate like that. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, dude, fucking for sure, dude. It's going to happen. Well, it's happening, right? So if you ask me, like, what do I feel like? Most people come up to us and they say, hey, dude, we saw this, or we saw this post. They're ripping your bag off. They're doing this. They're doing that. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, and they're like, well, what's that whole saying? Like,
imitation's a form of flattery.
Yeah, that one, right? And I'm like, well, no, I don't feel flattered at all. Do I know it's going to come? Yes, I do. But I look at it different. I look at things like, does it make us better? Does it make our whole community better? Now, if you take what somebody does and you want to elevate it and you really want to introduce competition or make a better product and bring it to the consumer, that to me is the best part of American innovation, right? But when you make something just because you're in their ass and you can because you have lots of money, I don't see how that makes us better.
Right.
Okay. So, are they going to keep doing that? Well, yeah, for sure, dude. They can't not.
Well, and there's a big difference in taking a product and expanding on the idea and making it more deadly or tweaking it to where it's a better product rather than just straight up taking intellectual property and putting somebody else's name on it. Like there's a big difference.
Well, we also like, again, I really wish Brandon was on with me right now, but we talk about this all the time. We're not ever going to do something that doesn't have clear benefit to the consumer.
Right.
I won't make a post. If I don't have something to say, I'm not going to say it. I got nothing to say, right? I don't post and go, "What's your favorite duck, a greenhead or a wood duck?" Really, dude? That is like as fucking stupid as stupid can get. That's how worthless social media is to me.
Yeah.
If I have something to say and I want to talk to people, I'm going to do it. So Brandon is the same way with a shell. If he's going to make the shell, he's going to make the best one, dude. Right?
Yeah, he's not going to cut any corners.
Oh, none. We're never going to cut a corner. Never. Our products are only going to get better. The delivery mechanism on how we get to people might change. I mean, there's social media, there's print, podcast. By the way, thank you for having us on. We love it. You guys are valued and great partners of ours from day one. But this whole idea of plagiarism, does it bug me? No. Is it annoying? Yeah, like a mosquito.
Right.
It's annoying. Is it does it matter? Is it going to stop? Is it going to change? Are they going to gain market share? No, they're not. Consumers are not dumb. I don't mean ignorant. Ignorant would mean they don't have the information. Let's say dumb. They're not dumb. They know what boss is like. They know who we are. They know how we talk to people. They know what our products are. They know why we make products because we have a narrative that goes with it. So take the bag, take the money bag. Yeah. So they rip it off. Okay, what's your story? Boss did it. Boss did one. We got to do what boss does. Well, how stupid is that? Yeah. Just get better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I would be mortified.
No, we're not.
No. If I put out a product that was a ripoff, I would be beside myself. I could not make that decision to be like, you know what? That is a good idea. This other company, let's put out one that looks just like it. But let's just put our name on it. As a guy making a decision, I would not want to take that heat.
You may have seen the post maybe a month ago, and we don't need to talk about like where the post came from, but somebody made one of a competitor's money bag and a hand going in it.
Yes.
Right? And if you read the comments, like the bossman came to our defense. I mean, you don't even need to worry about it. You guys got it covered. You're going to go, dude, really?
Right.
Are you kidding me? Right? Yeah. But it's okay. It really is. It's okay. Quite honestly, while the others are focused on what we're doing, we're moving on. Right?
Yeah. Onward and upward. Yeah. You got shit to make better.
We're working on other things.
And that's what's so beautiful about you guys is, you cause waves but you stay the course. That's like you stay the course no matter what's going on around you. Like you're on a mission.
Right.
You want to make the most deadly. You want to make the most the most lethal load that's out there, ethical, American made. The whole thing, and one way. We're going this way. You guys can copy what we do, but we're gonna keep going.
It's funny. What's funny about the copying thing is, okay, so let's say brand X comes out with their load to combat what you're doing. And quite honestly, what they're doing is it's not even the load they're after, it's the narrative they're after.
Yeah.
Right? They're after the stoke, right? Well, you're not going to get it. Right? It's like, and I use Yeti for an example all the time because my children use the word, "Hey, where's my Yeti?" What a powerhouse you have when somebody says that. So there's, I don't know, I heard like a couple of years ago, there's like 52 rotomodal cooler companies or whatever, right? Dude, there's only one Yeti.
There is. There's only one boss.
Right? So there's only one boss. That's a fact, right? Boss has a narrative and a story to go along with everything we talk about. So why is boss boss? Well, first of all, we're legendary lead-like performance, direct from our door to yours. That makes us unique right there. Then we put our money where our mouth is. We totally believe in habitat and conservation. When we're not afraid to put our money where our mouth is there, right? Ask Delta, ask DU, ask, it could be any number of, dude, we're even part of like Trout Unlimited, right? Because we know what they do, what they put back in the ground benefits everything, right? So there's lots of, put it on paper, right? We talk about patterns, chokes, guns, knowing what this does. We talk about know the shot, know yourself off a crippling shot. There's 3.4 to 3.7 million birds lost to crippling every year, right? So, I mean, we have narrative to go with what we believe in. So it really doesn't matter. Is it annoying? Yeah, it's annoying. Does it matter? No, it doesn't, because boss is going to keep doing boss things.
I looked at that link that you sent me about the dove, and I'm trying to find it right now.
Yeah. It's alarming, isn't it?
What was it? Was it 15 million dove? Estimated number morning
lost
killed each year by lead poisoning. Lead from ingestion.
Yep.
15 million.
Correct.
Holy shit.
Correct. And what's the harvest in the year?
Oh shit, I don't.
20
million is what we harvest.
20.
Oh wow. Holy.
Right? Okay,
Jeff,
so
what's that percentage?
So when people people would go, "Well, really? Is that even real?" Yeah, dude, it's way real. So you go, "Why haven't you heard about it?" Well, because they don't want you to hear about it. They make lead.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so like that whole unleaded movement that boss is going to stoke is legit. And when people really hear about it, they're going to go, "Really? Is that for real?" Yeah, it's for real. Then you go, "So wait a minute. Is there an alternative to lead that we can?" Yeah, dude, a really good one. Well, why wouldn't you? Right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we get it out? Well, that's when I talk about boss things, that's what I'm talking about. We don't look at what other people do. We look at what boss does.
That's 40% of the population in the world of dove die each year from lead poisoning. That's the way to look at it. 40%.
Where'd you get that number?
That article.
You just told me there was 35 million doves died last year. 20 million are harvested, 15 million died. So 15 out of 35 million, 17 and a half would be 50%. I'm guessing 40. It might be 42 and a half. I'm just trying to do the simple math in my head as quick as I could.
I don't know that. I know
when
that.
When you said that number, it was on one. I think it was the last pod, and then you sent me the article. When you said the number on the podcast, I was like, that seems a little high, but it's in fucking black and white right here on this article.
It's crazy. Well, I know the biologist. Personally, know a biologist that did the research work on that. Not necessarily the name that's on that paper. And when we got into the duck, the crippling effects on ducks and ducks that still die, due to lost cripples. Oh my God, dude, the numbers, it's staggering. Staggering.
And it, and it's not like there's not a good alternative to steel and to lead, and it's out there.
It's out there.
Just go get it.
It's out there. Yep.
Crazy.
Yep. It's gonna take time, and it's gonna take a voice, and quite honestly, guys like you that have us on and let us tell our story and where we're headed, and but that whole unleaded thing, it's time, dude. It's time for us to get. It's way time.
So what are your plans?
Hold on, Lee. You're right. 20 million doves is what was killed by hunters last year.
Harvested. Across 20. I believe it's 23 states. You could fact check that one, but I believe it's 23 states in the U.S. that have a dove season. I think 20 million were harvested and 15 million died due to lead poisoning last year alone. That's just
that's right,
dude.
HIP estimates, so it's going to be a little bit different. Estimates indicate that the U.S. about 12 million mourning doves were harvested by about 750,000 hunters. Is what it is. But if
Texas, Kansas. Yep.
So if that's the number is 15 or 12 million, and 15 million are dying of lead poisoning, more die from lead poisoning than they do from getting shot and harvested. So
Sure.
That would be
doesn't
about 60%.
In all honesty, that doesn't surprise me at all. And then, like you watch this new term, rain out, right? And you look at that and you like, did you guys notice like how long we were off Instagram?
Yes, it was unusually long.
I mean, I think we went. Well, I should say we. Like, I have partners, but it's me that does it. Baby. And I was off for like 3 months. Yeah. And it was because I seriously questioned the ethics behind what's going on in social media. And I'm like, you can even ask Brandon when you have him on next time. We were sitting in a meeting down in Bridgman, and I said, do you mind if I pull Boss off all social feeds? And they're like, yeah, but I mean, we get it, but why? So I go through my reasons why I can't stand it. And Brandon, you guys know him, and he's like, fuck it, do it, pull it, go, done. Yeah. We're out.
Yeah.
And then I start to think about it, and I'm like, if even I can help a few, and it's our voice, then I'll keep doing it. So I did it. But here's what really, really starts to disappoint me. Like these narratives, take it to the plug. It's a grind. Like make them pay rent. All that stuff. I just don't see how that makes us better, and I want no part of it. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well,
now I hope that doesn't make me sound preachy, and maybe it's because maybe it's my age.
Well, it is definitely your age, but you also saw waterfowl hunting when waterfowl hunting was at its purest form. And there weren't all of these different pro staffs that you can be on, and you did it before you could look cool to people that don't really care. Does that make what I'm saying? Like you did it at a time when, like, the only person that knew how good you did that day was you and whoever you were with and your dog, and you burned up Canada by yourself. So you did it when it was for a very, very pure reason and soul. You had something down in your gut that made you want to do it, whereas a lot of people, and I'm not talking about everybody because I've gotten in trouble before for making generalizations, but there's a large majority of waterfowl hunters that are only doing it so that they can get likes on Instagram. And 100%. they embellish on, sure, what they've had to go through to get, like you said, the grind and all that other stuff. They want to seem more hardcore than they are, and maybe they only hunt 3 or 4 times a year, but that's a grind to them. But it's your age because you did it for so long, and you did it for such a pure reason that whenever you see a lot of the people that are fakes on social media, it aggravates you.
Oh boy, it's like you brought it up, like back in the day. I mean, we did it because we're duck hunters.
No other reason. You would have done it.
No other
whether
reason.
There was Instagram or not. You would have burned down those same roads in Canada.
Greg Allman, like when other people ask me like influence and stuff like that, when you go back to your informative years, we're talking about in junior high and shit like that. So Greg Allman and the Allman brothers for sure, Zapp and Skinner, but for sure. But Greg in particular, and I was reading, he's got a book out. It's his Cross to Bear, right? My Cross to Bear. And he was talking about when the brothers played together when they were kids, and they would go to parks and travel around, and they play for free, right? Think about that. You got guys now on Instagram in the duck world that direct message us at Boss every day, like numerous times a day. And I'll do this for you if you give me this.
Yeah.
The fuck are you talking about, dude? You got to earn your way into this fraternity,
Right.
dude. Right? If you're a duck hunter, you got to earn your way into this one, right? I'm not the Instagram crowd, right? So I look at the way people did things back in the 70s, and you go, well, he's just an old crotchety fucker. Well, yeah, maybe I am. But I can promise you this. It was better back then.
Yeah. It was pure.
Right? Pure, right? You did things for love.
Mm-hmm.
You loved it. Legitimately loved everything about it.
Yep.
Right? Can you imagine? It's another thing Brandon and I talk about. Shells back in the day. Winchester had a double X copper plated buffered lead that was like absolutely a monster, right? An absolute monster. Best shell ever, right? Can you imagine me as a old teenager, young adult, calling up Winchester going, hey, if you guys send me like 10 cases of 3-inch 6 copper, I'll like take pictures for you guys for free on the house. What? What are you talking about? Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? How far removed from the sport we've gotten.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Everybody's keeping score on everybody else. Like he's got these companies with him, and he's got these companies with him, and how am I gonna where am I gonna fall into this? And they don't
real?
give a shit about what they're backing.
Is it real? Here's why I say that. Like you can dig into people's analytics,
yes, right,
and you can look and you go, okay, hold on here. So this dude just posts this, and he's got 385 vanity likes, right? Which likes is a vanity metric, right? If you don't share it or comment on it, and then reply to the comment, there actually is zero value. So my point is, back in the day, you would have a guy that like shot your product or shot a gun or wore a particular clothing or whatever like that, and there very well may be an influencer, a real one, right? Now, just because they call themselves that doesn't mean it's true. Okay, who do you influence? You really don't. It's easy. It's an easy metric to look at.
Right.
It really is.
Well,
right. So and now, if Kim Kardashian can get people out of jail, that's a fucking influencer,
right,
dude.
Yeah.
Oprah's a fucking influencer. Yeah. Okay? Make no mistake about it. She might have been responsible for getting Obama elected.
Was.
Yeah.
That's real influence. Mm-hmm. Okay? So and I don't mean this I'm not picking on that. I don't. Quite honestly, I think that's amazing. Mm-hmm. Okay? But what I'm saying is this shit that people watch on social media, really look at it and go, is this real? Not even real. Or just because I look at it on my phone, dude, it's not real. It's fake as fuck. Fake.
Yeah. And
it is.
People get, they sniff that out. Like you said, people are not dumb.
They're not dumb. Stop treating us like we are.
And
we're
they
not.
can, you might make it for a little bit, but cream rises to the top. It always does. It always does.
Good.
Before we let you go.
That's good.
You never answered who your first kiss was. When your first kiss was. How old were you?
Oh, man.
Put you on the spot.
13.
13, 14?
Cool chick, dude.
I would hope so.
She was really cool.
Yep.
I'd like to,
You don't have to incriminate yourself here, Lee. You've already
No,
answered.
I'm not, but I really haven't been with that many, like, there's a handful of cool girls in my life. I'm not one of those guys that's like, like there's only one, or there's my soulmate, or this. Yeah, no, dude.
Yeah.
There's been a handful of girls in my life that would have been cool chicks to hang out with for a lifetime, really cool. Yeah. And she was probably one of them. Yeah. Liked her a lot. Yep. Cool.
Lee, I love you.
8th grade, I think. 8th grade.
Yeah.
8th grade. Yeah, for sure.
Those are formative years.
Yeah. Well,
Lee,
they are. Yep.
We love you. I love you. Take care of yourself this spring and summer. What's crazy is, we're going to look up and it's going to be September again before we know it.
It won't be long, dude. We'll be talking and it'll be right at the doorstep. Hey, before I go, I met you guys in person for the first time at the DUX event in Fort Worth, or at Dallas Motor Speedway. And I called Brandon and I'm like, holy shit, dude, I met those guys. I said, God, those fuckers are awesome, right? He goes, dude, they like travel together. They bring their wives, they bring their kids. And I just wanted to tell you how fun it was to meet you in person. And anytime you guys would like to get together and go out and hunt a bird or share whatever, just holler. I'm in 100% in with you guys.
It was definitely an honor. That was one of the main reasons I hustled up my turkey hunt, got the turkey hunt over with, and I really wanted to get out there to meet you. So
it's fantastic.
It goes both ways. But yeah, we're just, we just bring the family along wherever we go. Family deal.
We love the big honker, dude.
We appreciate it, Lee, very much, man. God bless you. Have a great, great, great summer, and we'll be in touch with you soon. And hopefully this fall we can go shoot something together.
I hope we do. Love you guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
The one and only Lee Kjos.
Boy, he is one of a kind.
He's awesome.
He is. I'm telling you.
I love Lee.
When he comes down here this fall, because I think he's going to try to come down this winter, I want him to meet Wyman Menzer. They're a lot alike.
Yeah.
A lot alike.
All right, we got to get out of here. Ramsey Russell was actually calling about 15 minutes ago, so we need to get rocking and rolling with him.
All right. Thank y'all. God bless y'all, and have a great week.
Bye, everybody. Go check out all of our great sponsors. Go check out Boss Shot Shells. They are cutting edge, no bullshit, no frills, just results. Pacific Calls, Dive Bomb Industries, Alpha Outdoors, Shin Gear, Dirty Duck Coffee, Lucky Duck, Looking Glass Duck Club Podcast, Gun Dog Outdoors, Steak Plains Meat, Stanfield Hunt Outfitters, Banktail Whiskey.